there, it's Olivia-Savannah here from Olivia's Catastrophe and welcome to week 1 of Gothtober, and this is the first of 4 Gothtober vlogs that I will be doing this month. So as you've seen a lot of footage, I've had a really productive morning and I'm frankly a little bit tired already. So I woke up this morning and I started reading my first book of the readathon, which is The Gilda Stories by Jewelle Gomez. This is one of the books that's the oldest ones on my TBR. I've had it for very long, so it's in the older, like 0 to 100 books I own TBR category. So it's that old, and this one is Black Lesbian Vampires, essentially. That is what this book is, and we're following Gilda, our main character, and she is just going through the years and feeling very lonely and trying to find love. That's what it seems like this book is about. I've read half of it so far, and I'll tell you my thoughts after I tell you about what I've done this morning. So the very first thing that I did was I did some filming. Then I took 3 Bookstagram photos because I've got 3 kind of scheduled or important posts, and then I started to film my entire TBR, which is such an undertaking, and I'm not even a third of the way through and I'm tired and I'm fed up and I don't want to do it anymore. But after I have lunch, which is cooking itself right now in the kitchen, I will continue with that. I also boxed up 10 books which are going to Hannah, which I'm very happy about because she's a little bit ahead of me on the TBR challenge, which is why I've got to read as many spooky books as I can this month without hauling too many in. But let's get back to the book. So far I'm not liking this one. I'm struggling. I find it quite slow paced, and it's so slow paced for something that, I don't know, why is it so boring? I really want to love this because I really love the concept, and I do kind of like how these vampires don't have to kill someone to drink their blood. They can drink the blood up until a certain point and stop themselves, and they have some cool, interesting things that they can do. But the vampire culture is not that heightened. It's not the level of the Volturi, but it's also not the sinister or setting vibes that you get from Dracula. And I am comparing this to other vampire books, but even in and of itself, I just find it a bit stale. Every chapter is a new year, and we're usually skipping about 50 years each time. And it's just like, here's a love situation, but this doesn't seem like the right person, so she's not going to turn her into a vampire. This is the next love situation, doesn't seem like the right person, so I'm not going to turn them into a vampire. And that is the pattern that's happened so far, again and again and again. And because you're skipping the years and it's about 50 pages per year that you're in, you don't actually get that much time to care about the characters either. There's only Gilda who's consistent, and I do struggle when we just have one main character that we're following the whole time and not enough consistent secondary characters. Another secondary character who we met in one of the previous chapters has just reappeared in the chapter I'm currently reading, so there is still hope for this book, but right now I'm finding it a bit dry and boring and a bit too literary romance for my tastes. I do prefer either it to just go deeper into the angsty romance vibes or to go deeper into the vampire lore and creation, and it's not really giving me either which one. So it's still day 1 of the readathon, but I'm in my pajamas and ready to go to bed because it's very, very late now. But I finished reading the Gilda Stories. So I finished my first book of Gothtober on the first day. Woo! So this ticks off the prompt of humans are delicious, so that's all done. And it was just okay. It was a mediocre start to the reading month. I think it did get better in the middle there. There was a chapter in the middle, or maybe 2 chapters in the middle that I really liked. Those like late 1980s years, they were very good. But other than that, I just found it quite mediocre and boring and repetitive because she kept doing the same thing, where she was dithering around whether or not to change someone, and then she either did it or she didn't do it. And that was essentially the story, and it didn't lean as heavily into the vampire lore as I would have liked, and I could see that it was touching on some discussions to do with racism and discussions to do with environmentalism, and a couple of discussions about like living your own life authentically or waiting around for permission to do things. But it just didn't hit. It missed the mark for me. So this is not by any means a bad book, but it was definitely a bit too repetitive and slow paced for me personally. Hopefully whatever I pick up reading next will be fine. 5 of Gothtober. I haven't spoken to you since day 1. That is how go my life has been lately. If I'm not working on writing things, which Patreons hear more about, then I am working. If I'm not working, I'm trying to do something for Gothtober. If I'm not doing something for Gothtober, then I'm working out and trying to stay on my fitness routine or doing stuff for Olivia's Catastrophe. It's just go all the time, and I just haven't actually had a spare moment to stop and talk. I even today when I got home was just phoning everyone that I haven't talked to in a while, like my mum, my grandma and my friends and just catching up with lots of people. So I've actually done a lot of talking today for someone who is an introvert, but I'm about to do a whole lot more because I want to tell you about the books that I've been reading in these past 5 days, because I haven't finished anything for Gothtober since the 1st. I've just been reading things that are not for Gothtober because I also mood read. But I wanted to quickly talk to you about this really nice play that I saw. It was called The Father and the Assassin. It's showing in London at the moment, and it is a play about Gandhi and the person who assassinated him. And it was a bit slow throughout the first half. It took a while to really get going, but I think the second half after the interval had really good pacing to it. It was really getting to the point of why we were all there, and it was just more gripping. The main lead actor did such a good job of playing his role, and I thought he was brilliant basically in that role. And I think it was really good because I learned a lot of things that I didn't know about Gandhi in that time period. I did know some things because of history classes and such, and fiction that I've read, Indian fiction that I've read since learning that stuff in history, but there was still so much more that I had to learn, and it was fascinating to just like discover certain facts and things and actually put dates to some of the events that I knew happened, but I didn't know they happened on that particular date or that particular day around this particular moment. And it was kind of so interesting to see what Gandhi was talking about and seeing how his non-violent protests kind of echoed Martin Luther King's in some ways, or some of the ideologies like resonated with each other. So I found that really fascinating. I learned a lot, had some good discussions with my friend. But now on to the books, because we've got 3 books here that I'm currently reading. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about is the one that I read during the reading sprint, and I was reading Harrow Lake, which is Very Yellow by Ellis. And this is a horror book. It's got slasher vibes to it. It's about Lola, and her dad is a film director who filmed a film at Harrow Lake, and when that happened, a cameraman went missing from his team, and also there were just some series of fairy tales and stories and legends about this creature that lives underneath this town. Fast forward a couple of years and we know that his daughter goes there and goes missing, and then we jump back in time again and we're with the daughter as she first goes there. So we know that something's going to happen where she goes missing, but we're seeing things slowly escalate to get to that point, and it has to do with the legends and what's under, what might be under the ground, I should say. I'm halfway through this and I'm really enjoying it. I think it's doing a very good job of that slow build towards, it's that sense of foreboding. I really like how this book is structured. It's structured in such a way that we know something bad is going to happen. We know it's not going to end the way that you would want it to end. But how do we get there? And it's doing that slow build of suspense where it's really creeping up the fear. It's really heightening up the tension bit by bit with these horror motifs and the people in the small town being a bit strange. There's no signal and all those typical things that you would think would happen. It is doing it very well. I love the atmosphere, but I also think not only is it doing the slow build in the fairly obvious way that you would think for this town and the legends of the monster, but also there was a slow build in terms of character relationships, and I did not see that coming, and I'm enjoying seeing that unfold quite a bit. So it's making me smile. I really hope it sticks its landing because this is a solid one so far. I think that's my current read that I'm enjoying the most. Another current read that I'm having a, I don't want to say surprisingly good time with, but I read the first few pages and I wasn't sure, but since then I've read a good 100, I'm on page 100 right now, of Wild by Kristin Hannah. So Kristin Hannah I mostly read because she does really lovely friendships and sibling relationships in her books, and I've pretty much either thought they were all good or great, the ones that I've read so far. So this is Wild. It's one of her older releases, and it's about this small town where a girl wanders out of the woods, and this girl is unlike any other girl we've seen. She just is like, she has a wolf cub as a friend, and she can't communicate with everyone, and she can jump super high and is super strong, but it looks like she has been through trauma and experienced trauma. And so this small town, the policewoman is trying to understand this small girl, find out where she's come from, and she brings in her sister, who she's a bit estranged from, who is a child psychiatrist but has recently had her name smeared in the media for a certain reason, and she's also going to be working with this child who is wild from what the title is saying. I just made that connection. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I feel like it's doing everything that Kristin Hannah usually does really well, like the sibling relationship and just really good characters. She writes really good, realistic adult characters. It's got heartwarming vibes to it, but this one has also got quite a strong chord of seriousness in the undertone because of the trauma that the child has faced. And I'm curious to see where it's going. It's still very much in its beginning at page 100. But it's not slow, it's not boring. I'm invested and I'm curious. In the beginning, I wasn't too sure what I was going to think of it because I thought it was going into like a magical realism way with the young girl having these like supernatural abilities, but it's going well. And then last but not least, I started Not Alone by Sarah K. Jackson. This is an adult dystopian. It's not a secret that I haven't been loving young adult dystopian lately. I've DNF'd it a lot and I've unhauled most of my young adult, if not all my young adult dystopian books now. But I wanted to see if it was adult fiction that I could still like dystopian, but it was just young adult dystopian that wasn't working for me. And I think it might just be dystopian because I'm finding this fine. I'm not finding it bad, I'm just finding it fine. It's set in a world where the environmental climate crisis has reached its peak, it explodes and there's dust motes in the air that can kill you. It's very dangerous to be outside. And this young woman has been living with her son in isolation for about 4 years when a man shows up, and she hasn't had contact or interactions with anyone else in 4 years, and it's about what happens when that man shows up. And yeah, I'm just finding it fine. I do tend to like a mother-child duo, especially when the child is written realistically. I do think this child is written realistically, but like not 100% realistically. Like, he's realistic and I'm not complaining, but I think he could be closer to realism. And it's nice. I do think sometimes, especially in the beginning, it got a little bit repetitive with the issues that they were facing, but now it's kind of moved on to another layer of things. Men are men. Men are men. Even at the end of the world, men are men. And you're seeing that quite clearly in this book. I can't fault it for anything. I don't think it's a bad book. I just can't love it for anything either. And I think it's more to do with me and the genre than to do with this particular book. But I do like what it's saying about the environmental conditions and how much attention we should be facing while it actually being part of the story and blended in and not shoved down your throats in any which way. So those are the 3 books I'm currently reading. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to switch to audiobook for this book. I know that my library is the audiobook and I'm pretty much smack bam on the halfway mark. So I think I should just listen to the rest of this, because when I think a book is going to be hard for me to get through physically, I sometimes switch to audiobook if I don't want to DNF, and maybe it can surprise me at the end. So I'm not going to DNF, I'm going to switch to audiobook, I'm going to potter around, do some chores, get ready for bed while listening to this book, and then let's just see. There has been so much going on and I've just not had the wherewithal to talk about it. Mostly because I've been very, very busy, but also yesterday and this morning for the most part I wasn't feeling well, and who wants to talk on camera when they're not feeling well and they're in pain? No one. So now I'm feeling a bit better. I'm here to catch you up on everything that's been happening. It's now day 10 of Gothtober, and I've decided that I'm going to do 3 vlogs this year, one for every 10 days, and then the last one is 11 days because of course we have 31 days in October. Well, a lot. I made a really nice gnocchi that was from the 20-minute vegan cookbook that I keep on banging on about. It's just that good. If I recommend you get one cookbook, just get this one. And the gnocchi was really sweet, it was lovely, and it was a really nice pasta dish. Very quick and easy to make. I did not make the gnocchi from scratch, just so you know. And then on Saturday I went to my sister's house, Tamara's house. She's recently had a baby, my nephew, and we did a baby photo shoot. And it was nice being there and just spending time with them, but also getting to do the baby shoot. However, baby was not happy. Otis did not want his photo taken. So I took some photos. I don't actually have the edited photos ready to show you as of now because I've just taken them. I haven't had time to edit them, but maybe in one of these Gothtober vlogs you'll see the results of the baby shoot as I do some editing. But I'm just gonna have to work with what I've got. It was a tricky photo shoot. I've done a baby photo shoot before and this was so much harder than that one. I also dragged my sick self, who was in pain, to the Elizabeth-Savannah event. So I think I've mentioned on my channel before, or maybe it was just to my patrons, that I've worked on the campaign for family law by Elizabeth-Savannah, which is her debut adult novel, and I've loved Elizabeth-Savannah's works for so long. She's my favourite novel and versist and has really inspired my own writing, so getting to work on her book was amazing. There was an event in London in Trafalgar Square and Elizabeth-Savannah was all the way here from the US for this event, and I was in so much pain that day. But I dragged myself there because that is what you do for some of your favourite authors, okay? And it was so good to be there. She was so lovely, and hearing her talk, she just had so much wisdom to impart about mother-daughter relationships, but also like Dominican culture and what it means to be a woman and why her books are so woman-focused. It was fantastic. I loved it. The audience were really nice. There were some bookstagrammers there who said hello, and I got my book signed. So I think that's one of those books that's one of my most prized possessions because now it's been personalised and signed to by Elizabeth-Savannah, and she wrote a really nice message in the front, and then I'm also in the acknowledgements as I worked on the campaign, and then it's just a great book. So I am very happy. But amongst all of this, I have been reading for Gothtober, so let me just run you through what I've been reading these past few days. So on reading sprints, I had my reading sprints and Hannah had hers too. I finished reading Harrow Lake by Ellis, and I think I mentioned how much I was enjoying this and its spookiness, and it's really creepy. Not everything is right in this town vibe that it had to it. It didn't sustain. I think around the 2/3 mark I was thinking, oh, this is getting a bit slow. It didn't need to be what was it, 300-page horror book. It could have been a 250 or 200-page horror book around the same length as You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight, and it would have picked up the pace a bit more and given me less time to figure things out, because the further in we went, the more I could just predict where I was going to go, because I just had so much time to think and figure things out, and the clues became a bit too obvious. So I wish it was a little bit shorter to pick up the pace a bit more, but I also felt like at the end it just delved a little bit into the unbelievable, a little bit too predictable, and it just wrapped up very quickly. It rushed that ending, and I just wish it had given it more time. If it had taken pages from the middle where it was going slow and still building up the atmosphere when the atmosphere was set and done, I think I would have liked this one more. So it's just the second half that could have used a bit of tidying up, but it was a good enough read. It just wasn't good enough to break me out of this 3-star reading streak slump thing that I'm in, but it was a good time. I liked it, and that ticked off the head empty just vibes prompt for me. I also started reading Devotion by Hannah Kent, and I didn't realise how well this fit Gothtober until I got to the halfway mark. So I can't tell you why it fits Gothtober, because of the fact that that is the twist. I would say it's one of the twists in this book. So this is a historical fiction book, and it's got lesbians in it. It's about these 2 girls who grew up in a deeply religious town where their religion is banned. It's set like quite back in the past, before technology was a major thing or electricity was a major thing. I don't know which year it's set in, I can't remember. But then the town gets word that they're being freed and they're being sent to Australia, where they're allowed to practice their religion in peace. But they have to make the voyage all the way from where they are in Europe, I believe near Germany, all the way to Australia, and it's about them making that journey. She's also a very young girl, and she develops feelings for her friend, and I was liking it. I was thinking it was really interesting. I wanted to see where it was going to go. It built up to the halfway mark and I was like, oh, this is cool. And then the twist happened and it was not what I expected to get from this story. I almost didn't believe it happened because I was like, what, is the author really doing this? But yes, the author is really doing that. And so I think some people are going to like it. I just don't know how to feel about it. I really don't know how to feel about it. But it makes things fit Gothtober a lot more. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. But I've got about 100 pages left of this, so I think I'm going to finish it. Maybe not tonight, but first thing in my next vlog. And we've also got Wild by Kristin here. I was reading this when I last spoke to you and I've continued to read more of it. I'm almost 200 pages through, which puts me about a third of the way in. I'm really liking it. I tend to enjoy Kristin. I think I was a bit unsure when I started it, but now it's really got into the sister relationship. I believe what is going to be a romantic relationship, and it's also got a bit of a mother kind of adopted child trying to understand this wild child relationship going to it, and I'm finding that quite fascinating too. I think Kristin does a really good job of talking about mother-daughter relationships that are either incredibly close or incredibly far apart from each other, but quite different and distinct, and there's something unique about them. I just really like the way that she writes, and I think she tells a good story in an enjoyable manner. So I'm having a good time with this. And when I was rolling around in pain yesterday, I decided it was a good time to start books. So I read 25 pages of I Feed Her to the Beast by Jamison, Shea, and I also read 25 pages of Monstress Volume 5. I don't really have much to say about either of these because I just started them, but I think I'm going to read more of Monstress tonight, and then I will give you an update about it. This one is a horror fantasy graphic novel about a girl who has this monster living inside her that wants to eat people, but she also lives in this world where a war is on the horizon, but she has also experienced war in the past and she doesn't want it to happen. She's very apprehensive about which side she's going to choose to be in this war. So that's what this one's about. This is the 5th volume, so I'm quite a way into the series. I know I love it. I'm going to continue. And we've now reached the point in the vlog where I'm going to make a cup of tea, and the tea that we have here from our calendar, I already took this ages ago because I thought I was going to have it in a previous vlog, but I didn't. And this is called After Dinner, and it's a delicious balance of sweet fennel, roast chicory and cardamom. I'm going to make dinner for us and then I will have this tea, so that I'll actually be having it after dinner. I have enjoyed all the teas with fennel flavouring in them, but these other 2 flavours, I just wonder how it's going to blend in with the tea. Very excited to try this and read more of Monstress and be productive today. So the plot twist of the night is that I did read more, but I read more of Devotion by Hannah Kent and I finished it tonight, and it's just another okay one. It's another 3-star. I'm just so sad. Don't even usually point out the ratings, but I have to let you know because I've just been finding so many books mediocre, and it's sad because I was really enjoying this up until the halfway mark, but I think the direction that it changed into going into was just a bit too much for me, and also at the end there it got a bit strange, okay? It got a bit strange and I really want to tell you how or why, but I can't do that because then it's giving spoilers. So if you want to chat me about this and you've read it, I would really like to talk to you in the description box down below. But ultimately, just some of the things were a bit too strange. So that's finished, and this one is ticking off my LGBTQ+ prompt because we got some lesbian characters in this. Wow. That is a really rich flavour. That is a really rich flavour. I do think sometimes Booker teas can edge onto the side of being quite light, but this one is quite dark and intense, but it's really nice and flavoursome. And I really like it. It's giving me the vibe of cozy evenings with roasted chestnuts next to the fire. I don't know why that is, but I really, really like it. And I think that's a winner for me, and I'd buy a full box of that tea. So there you have it. That's been the first 10 days of Gothtober. This is absolutely not the next morning on day 11, but I will continue my reading vlog in the next installment. Please let me know in the comment section down below, what was the last spooky book that you read? Have you been reading any spooky books this month? Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more, and don't forget to hit that notification bell to be updated every time I have a new video. And you know what they say, onwards and upwards. Excelsior!